Hi there, and welcome to Mom Coach Wife. My name is Alina Michelle. For those of you who are new to this channel, today is Mompreneur Mondays. Every single Monday, we have a brand new mompreneur come on and tell their story, inspire you to be more than just a mom, and share how they're balancing motherhood with entrepreneurship. Today is going to be with Bri Sanford. She is a coach for virtual assistants, and she's going to be talking to us about how she got into being a coach for a virtual assistant and how she's balancing that with being a wife and a mother. Again, if you're new to this channel, my name is Alina Michelle. Make sure that you like these videos, give us a subscription so that you get to see when we have new moms on the channel, as well as checking in with us on Wednesdays for accountability and balance tips and chats. So without further ado, let's meet Bri. Hi, Bri.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I am awesome.
Great, great. Thank you so much for being a part of Mompreneur Mondays. And because of you and so many other moms, there's been so much inspiration going on every single Monday, which is a great way to start our weeks, right?
Absolutely. We need that on a Monday.
Yes, I know Mondays are like super, super stressful a lot of the times because you're getting off the weekend, going into the day. So I thank you guys for taking time out on Mondays, for one, to even make time for this series, and then also to provide that inspiration for other moms. So, Bri, take a moment to introduce yourself and tell everyone what it is that makes you more than just a mom.
Absolutely. So my name is Bri, as she said. I'm the owner of the Raxx Creative. I am a VA business coach. So I help women open their VA businesses and learn how to actually get their clients in and then really service them. And what makes me different, I guess, in this industry is I started doing this online venture because I became a mom and I realized that the traditional 9 to 5 not only didn't work with my schedule, but didn't work with my beliefs and who I wanted to be as a mom and how available I wanted to be and how stress-free I wanted to be. So all of that, becoming a mom, was a catalyst for my business and actually created what I have now.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. I
Thank you.
know virtual assistants are so, so needed, especially today when so many people are working from home and you don't have that person right next to you to be like, hey, can you go do X, Y, and Z? So, yeah, this is like a perfect time for people to get into virtual assisting. I know, like, honestly, with my real estate team, I love that we have virtual assistants because it saves us so much time and so many like little admin things that I don't have to worry about. So shout out to you for
Absolutely.
coaching people to get into such a important industry, especially after the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us, how old are you? Unless you like don't want to share your age, you can opt
I
out.
don't
I know
care.
some people are like, don't
No,
even know
I don't
how old
care.
I am.
I am 32.
Okay.
Yeah,
So 32 years old, how many children do you have?
just one little boy.
Aw, you got a little prince at home.
I do.
So, what is your favorite thing to do with your little prince?
We like to make messes. So most people are like, oh, my kid's so messy. And I'm like, no, let's go outside. Like this past Sunday, we played with slime and we just made a huge mess, or we paint or we color. Like he just likes to get into things and get his hands dirty. And I love doing that with him because I'm, creative and I enjoy just kind of seeing him make things. And that's honestly one of our favorite things to do. We just make messes.
That's so much fun. We just made slime. It had an epic fail. So I'm gonna have to connect with you later on like
Yeah.
what your trick is for slime. It was just sticky. It was messy.
Outside.
We did it inside because it's cold here, but
Right? Yeah. We're in Louisiana. The directions were like, do it in your bathtub. And I was like, we're about to make a mess. I was like, let's go outside.
yeah, we'll take this out. Yeah, if I was in Louisiana, I'd do it outside too. But Michigan, it would have
Yeah, no.
frozen to my
Yeah.
hand, which my daughter didn't want to even touch it. She's so prissy. So one of the fun questions, this is not a dating site, so nobody hit on her. I'm just asking for context. Married, single, or dating?
I am married.
Okay. And again, it's for context because your lifestyle is going to be so different and what you're juggling is going to be different depending on whether you're married or dating or if you're a single mom, you know? So that's just the reason why I haven't had anybody get hit on for me asking that question, but I just like to put it out there because nobody wants to be harassed. Chill,
Right?
guys. So have you always envisioned yourself as being a mom? And if so, how is it different now from what you envisioned?
Yeah, I was always wanted to be a mom. I was like, I love kids. I coach them. I teach dance on the side, and I've always loved kids. But originally, I was like, man, I'm gonna have like a football team. Like, I want 10 kids, and I want everything. And I now have one, and I'm like, I think I'm good. I think one's good. I'm great.
Wait, how old is he?
He's 4.
Oh, that's why it's toddlerism.
Yeah.
I was just talking on live the other day about toddlerism, and I know I want another kid, but toddlerism is stopping me because I more power to the women who have 3 under 3 and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Mm-mm.
Bow down.
I used to think I wanted like not a football team, but maybe like 4. Like I was
Yeah.
like, oh, 4 kids, and now I'm like, we can cut that in half to 2. And I only want 2 because I was technically an only child. I have 2 brothers, but they didn't live with us because it was from my dad's first marriage. So I was technically an only child. So I want my daughter to have a sibling, but yeah, not that close.
We'll see about that. We'll see.
So what are some things that you, Bri, enjoy doing as hobbies just for yourself outside of your business?
Yeah. So I have been a dancer since I was 3. So I coach at a local high school here, and then I also teach at a studio competitively. That is so much fun for me, and I do it quite a bit. I teach just about every day of the week, and of course it's a job. It brings in income, and that's awesome. That's like the plus, but I get to interact with other individuals every single day, inspire them, coach them, move them through life. So coaching, I don't even know. Coaching, I guess, just ended up being my passion for dance and for work. So yeah, dance is like absolute.
Nice. What's your favorite style of dance?
Ooh, contemporary for sure.
Is that what you primarily coach at the school?
Yeah, contemporary jazz, hip hop. Contemporary is kind of like the weirder side, the more creative side where there's like not many rules. Again, making messes. Um, yeah, that's where I love to be. That contemporary jazz, hip hop area. That's my jam.
Okay, nice, nice. So you've already told us a little bit about what your business is that you coach for virtual assistants. Are you yourself a virtual assistant?
I started as a virtual assistant. Now I'm more of like an online business manager. So the majority of my clients have me go into their usually slightly messy businesses and I figure out what that mess is and I clean it up. I organize it, streamline it to make sure that it's not only productive, but effective for them. So I'll do that. And then of course I coach my VAs.
Awesome. So tell me, what was it about virtual assisting in general? I know you stated earlier that you wanted to have like more time and something that aligned with your goals, but why virtual assisting? I mean, there's so many options out there for different things that you could do and maybe spend more time with your son. What made you choose this?
I think virtual assistants for me, when I first started, and I know a lot of people kind of run into this, is not knowing exactly what you can offer online. I knew technically I was very savvy. I could figure things out pretty quickly and I was good at organizing. So that's where I started. It was a very easy way to dive into the pool, right? Just kind of dip your toe in and figure out what you're good at. And as going through it, I was like, okay, virtual assistant is great. Like I love it, but I knew that I wanted to do even more. And I wanted to be at a higher level to be able to look down and kind of create things and figure out how they worked. So as I went through being a virtual assistant, I was like, okay, I think I can take a step up and really go into this business management side because that's kind of where my brain was headed. So virtual assistant was the perfect like entry point to working online and kind of figuring out the ropes.
Nice. I love how you navigated through all of that to get to where you are today, because it is really difficult when you're in a position and not knowing exactly what it is that you want to do. And sometimes that makes people feel really stuck. And I love that you shared that you just started somewhere and found your way through that. That's really powerful.
Yeah. Figure it out.
It's the power of a mama. because we definitely
right? We're gonna
figure it
figure it
out when that
out.
baby gets here.
And then of course, I just wanted more time with my son. Like, when kids are in school, they're out of school for certain things and they get sick. And that was the biggest thing. My son had gotten sick a few
Mhm.
times. And when I was in my 9 to 5, the last time he got sick, they were like, all right, well, he's been sick quite a bit and you either need to stay here or figure out who's going to watch him. And I was like, I'm his mom. So I have
Right.
to be the one to go and watch him. I didn't have that option at that point. And it was like, okay, I need to figure out something because he's not going to, stop getting sick. He was 6 months old. He's very
Mhm.
new. So it was like, all right, make your choice and figure out what path you need to take to make it work, not only for, financials, but also for your child. That
Yeah,
there's
for
no
his
arguing
health.
that. Yeah.
For sure. And that sometimes does like kind of force us to have to make a decision, even, even if it's not something that you initially thought of. And I think that's also important for people to understand. Like a lot of us didn't just wake up and just say, hey, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. There's circumstances that happen. And it was like, well, I still got to make things happen and I still got to find something that I love. And we get led into that direction. So speaking of sick, we're not going to talk about your son being sick, but the whole nation being sick with COVID. How has COVID impacted your business? I mean, I know some people it's been good, some people it's been like still kind of plateau, same deal, and some people it's been like, oh, I hate COVID. So,
Yeah.
what has COVID done to or for your business?
Yeah. So for the first 6 months, it definitely was a lull just because I think everyone was trying to figure out what to do. There were so many businesses that were being forced into the online world and trying to figure it out. So the first 6 months was just a huge shock and it was a slowdown when things started shutting down. But after things started slowing down, I noticed the trend of upward, right? When everyone was looking for virtual assistants, looking for help with their business because they could no longer go into an office and get their manager to do it. And not everyone was
Right.
savvy as we were. They were like, what's this Zoom thing? And I was like, you mean the thing I'm on every day, like where I live?
Right.
Um, so the second half of COVID of 2020 was really, really productive. In fact, I am probably had the most profitable 6 months of my business during 2020, and it's all just going up now, even more.
Yeah. Like we said earlier, 2020 was like that thing where people really realize how important virtual assistants are.
Yeah.
I worked for a company where we all went into the office for the most part, right? And we had kind of talked about before COVID, like going and working from home, but the owner was just like not really accustomed to that. So she wasn't really for it. And then COVID hit and it was like everybody had to work from home, right? We couldn't
Yeah.
go into the office. If somebody went in, only one person could go in at a time. Then you had to sanitize. It was this whole process if someone went into the office. And it wasn't really the same because there was nobody there, like you said, to say, hey, can you do X, Y, and Z, or I need your assistance with that. Like you had to call somebody and relay certain information that normally would be there. So yeah, I can totally see so many companies being like, hey, you know what? We cannot do this. I know they probably tried it on their
Oh,
own for
yeah.
a while. That's probably what that first 6 months was. And then they realized like we need someone who knows how to manage virtually to do this. So
Yeah.
congratulations on a much better second half of the year and continued growth. That's always what we're in business for, is to continue to
Yeah.
grow that business. And speaking of growth, now that we're in 2021, what are some goals that you have for this year?
Absolutely. So in that 6 months of lull, while I saw that trend kind of going down, I was like, you know what? If we're going to stay like this for a little while, which is what it was exactly looking like, I was like, we're going to need more people in the workforce that know what to do, how to do it, and be confident enough to actually put themselves out there. Because as I predicted, the trend was going to go up. We were going to need more virtual assistants. So in that 6 month lull, I created my course to teach people how to become a VA and work online. So as 2021 starts and people are really like, all right, online is the way it's going to go, I can only see that moving forward. We've already had a couple rounds of the course and everyone inside of it has been super successful and has not had to go back into the office yet. So
Nice.
from what I'm predicting at this point, it's just going to continue to grow because the online world, as we're finding as moms, is going to be a little bit easier for us where we can, take a meeting just like I'm with you now and then go take a break and make lunch for the kiddos. It
Exactly.
just works. So I only see it going up from here.
Yeah, it's been a beautiful thing, just like you said, for mothers, because even in between this, I know I don't know if I said it after we started or when we first got on, but even before this, I was making calls for real estate, and I could stop in between it. We're at an office, like whatever's going on with my kid, I don't know until I take a lunch break or something, right? Instead, my daughter's right in the other room. I could see what was going on, and then I could make her a quick snack before we hopped on so that she's occupied during this. So yeah, it's amazing being able to do so many things online. And Zoom has been very interesting too. I know you mentioned that. So I want to know how you've been navigating with people who are not well versed in Zoom, because I know personally I've run into some very interesting situations, and people are they're starting to get it now, but there were some huge learning curves to Zoom and video chats and whatnot.
Yeah, so I am a firm believer in just get on it and just try it. Usually what I'll do is, with a lot of people that don't know how Zoom works, I create little SOP intro videos where I'm like, all right, this is how we're going to meet. I'll send it to them in an email. We're going to meet on Zoom. It's this app that looks like this. You're going to press this button and you're going to hop on and we're going to talk to each other for our meeting. Like, you kind of have to break it down, because I mean, Zoom, unless you were working on the digital world, you're like, okay, there's that app that people talk on. Is it FaceTime? Maybe.
Right.
So I would send little intro videos, letting them know how to work it step by step with picture instructions. And honestly, after their first one, they were good to go. So it's been a little bit of a struggle at the beginning to figure out how I was going to introduce this without confusing the heck out of them. But once I figured out, you know what, just explain it, send them a cute little video, they'll be fine. They figure it out. And now they're using it and they're like, I have this 100-person meeting. I'm going to do this, presentation. And I'm like, well, look at you.
You're
Look at you
pro
go.
now. But that's so true. It really is like just that first time, because the first time you do anything, you don't know what you're doing, right? Like, you just don't. And even if you went through a class or anything like that, it's a difference between doing like the educational side of it versus actually applying it in real life. So it's great that you actually step them through that. So then they're confident to go and use it for 100-person meeting. I'm jealous. I need to up my game.
Right, me too. I was like, okay, let me
Got
figure my things out. How'd you do that?
100 people. I'm only having one-on-ones right now.
Right.
So what has been to you your biggest success? And this can be in any way. It could be financially, it could be non-financially, it could be any kind of growth. Your biggest success in business so far?
I honestly think that just looking back on the work that I've done over the past 4 years and seeing where I started and where I am now, just seeing that growth and having that confidence and that knowledge, and being able to be self-sustained and being able to grow on your own. I think that that in itself is probably the biggest success that I've seen and that I'll probably ever see in my business. Of course, the financial is great. Having the clients is great, a business that's doing well, but it's personal for me. It's the confidence. It's being proud of myself and showing myself, look, you've done all these things. You have all of this to look back on. And yeah, I think that that's the biggest thing. I mean, finances are great, obviously, but I'm just
They're
really
kind of a
proud that
side
I've done
effect.
it.
That's one of the things that I didn't realize myself getting into business right away, but finances are the side effect. And
Oh
when you're
yeah.
doing that thing that makes you happy and you feel, like you said, confident about going out and doing it, the money comes down the line. As you learn and you grow, the money is going to come, but there's so many other things that just really, really benefit. And I love that you realize that, and that your success was your own growth, essentially. It's beautiful. Do you have any employees? I know you talked about wanting to grow the virtual assisting space. Do you yourself have any employees currently?
I don't have employees. I do have contractors. So people that work under me that help me, whether it's engagement or emails or blogging. I do have just a couple. I've learned, for me personally, when it comes to my clients and showing them how I do something or if I can do something, I can't suggest it unless I've at least tried it or mastered it. So when we
Right.
look at, websites or social media, and my client says, well, I really need help with this on my social or my Pinterest or my website, I had to do it for myself before I could go ahead and hire it out. So I do have a couple, but for the most part, everything is done by me, for me, so that I can confidently go to my client and say, okay, I think that we can use this strategy. I think that we can use this platform. I've done something similar. So let's go ahead and try it. I'm a very hands-on. I want to know how it all works so that if we do need a hire, we can. And I hire for engagement. That's not my funnest. Like, I don't enjoy that. That's not my wheelhouse. It doesn't bring me joy. So I hire out for the things that don't bring me joy or aren't in my zone of genius.
Yeah. Social media is taxing.
Yes, it is.
But I know I tell people this all the time and nobody ever fully believes me, but I'm not a super social person, right? Like
Neither.
I'm just like I can do this, like us having a one-on-one conversation, that's fine. But like to just be that random person, just pick up and call somebody and just talk for no reason. Like, do we have a purpose? Because I need a purpose for this.
I'm like, let me go get some work done. Let me go on my whiteboard real quick and like figure out my plan for the week.
Yeah.
Like
I
that's
know that's gonna
definitely
be
more of where I'm at.
that's gonna be like the first thing I hire out for when I decide to hire people. It's like, just take care of that. I don't want to do that.
Engagement.
So, let's talk a little bit about balance. And we already talked about your family structure a little bit. Married, you have a son, you guys like to make messes. And we talked about your business where you're more so cleaning up the messes that other people have made. How are you balancing those things as well as being a woman and having to care for yourself?
Yeah, that's honestly one of the biggest factors, I think, being an entrepreneur that you have to master before you think about that six-figure income that you want is balance.
Right.
So my usual day looks like this. I wake up, I get my little one up. He is in school at a very small school, which we're very fortunate for that. So I'll wake him up, he goes to school, and then the first hour after he's at school is strictly for me, whether that's me working out, which I usually do for about 30 minutes, or journaling, or honestly just laying and resting. If I'm doing some yoga, if I'm just meditating, that first hour of the day is really important for me to kind of center myself and figure out where I need to go for the day. Because that first hour, a lot of people will just jump right into work without actually checking in and saying, okay, today I'm not feeling very good mentally, or I'm feeling great mentally, so I'm going to tackle this today. So that first hour is strictly for me. The rest of the day is, a meeting here or there. I don't really try to do more than two because they drain you. I mean,
Yeah.
an hour long of talking, it's draining. So I'll make sure that I'm monitoring how many meetings I'm on a day. I work in blocks. I give myself breaks. And then at the end of the day at 5 o'clock, when it's time to go pick up my son, it is time for family. So it's picking up the little one, cooking some dinner, getting him bathed, spending some time together. But from 5 o'clock until that next morning at 9 a.m., that's all my time with my family. That's sleep. That's, recharging. It's very important to set those boundaries. And it's been really hard to do that, honestly. When I first started, I was
Yeah.
like, no, I could work when he falls asleep at 8:30. Why? You're tired, you're tapped, nothing's
Right.
actually going to work, and you're not going to get any good sleep. So setting those boundaries for myself has been crucial in being successful and being able to remain consistent.
Yeah, boundaries are definitely key to balance,
Mm-hmm.
100%. And it's good that you know what's worked for your lifestyle, for your family, and what your goals are for your family as well as for your business. And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't, I know before I started doing this, my life as a mom was like crazy. No boundaries. And that's what ends up
Mm-hmm.
happening when you think like how you said, oh, I'll just do it when they go to sleep. That was literally like my approach to my business was like, she goes to sleep, I'll go do my business. I ended up underweight, stressed out, like so many problems doing that. And it's just better to just
Mm-hmm.
have the boundaries,
Yeah.
and communicate it with your family. So
Mm-hmm.
shout out to you for having balance under
It's real nice
control.
when you don't have to answer that email. It's 5:20 and you're like, it's 5:20. Put that
Right.
away. I'm not
Right.
answering that until tomorrow. I
and
mean, you
that's
do the
and
same
that's
thing in your
hard.
office,
That's
right?
hard when you're ambitious. So like I know that was a struggle for me. Like I'd see it come across my phone. So I had to
Mm-hmm.
start putting up like do not disturbs on my phone at a specific time because if I saw like a text or an email come through and it was business related or work related, I would be that person to go like respond to it. Cause I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh well, they said they finally responded. I'm like, it can wait till the morning.
I was about to say nothing's gonna burn down or explode because you
Right.
didn't answer the email. It'll be fine. It'll
Exactly.
be there tomorrow. They'll still be interested. They're still gonna buy from you. It'll be all right.
Right. And if that person's not going to buy from you because they emailed you at 6 o'clock and you didn't get back to them till 9 a.m., they weren't going to buy from you in the first
Mm-mm.
place.
They weren't for you. They were
they
not for you.
they were going to find some other excuse to not be your customer. So
Correct.
let it go. So if you were to write a book about your life, what would you title that book and why?
Whew. So many words come through my brain. Um, I think I would title it "Do It Anyway." Yeah, because we constantly, especially as women, as moms, I mean, you're a new mom. If you have a little one, you're constantly doubting yourself with your business when it's new, or when you're going through hard times, you're doubting yourself and you're like, man, I don't even know what to do. And honestly, if you just do it anyway, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That's like the theme of my life. Just do it.
Mhm.
Do it anyway. So yeah, I think that's what I call it.
Yeah, you'll be surprised, ladies, and even if it's some gentlemen want you to, you will be surprised what will happen when you just take that plunge. Like I made a lot of excuses in the beginning, scared to go out and do it. And I tell people, I've mentioned this on several of the videos for this series specifically. I was afraid to start this series, right? And I made 3 posts, literally 3 posts on Facebook, reached out to one of which was in my small community, and reached out to a few mamas that I knew on Instagram, right? And that was in December. By like January 20th, we were booked for a whole year. And this was something I was afraid to do, right? Like, I'm scared, like, oh, nobody's gonna wanna do this with me. No one's gonna wanna tell their stories, whatever, whatever, whatever. And when you just do something, you'll be so surprised what happens. So pick up Bri's book when she writes it.
It's been a thought for a while. I'm not ready to write it yet, but I'm definitely writing it down. I mean, it just, what's the worst that can happen, right?
Yeah.
It flops. Okay. Do
You
something
learn,
else. Do something else. You'll learn. It'll be
right.
fine.
I have 3 failed businesses under my belt at this point.
Same here, sister.
So I'm like, you know how much I learned before I started Mom Coach Wife? Like, so much. I've learned so
Mhm.
much about it, and I've been able to apply it to so many different things. So just try it. If you fail, laugh it off, take the lessons with you, and do something else. We only get one life to live. Like you
You're
said,
not
just
going to
do
know
it.
anything until you try it,
Right. You fail every chance that you don't take.
right?
So, what is something that you attribute your current success to? This could be a person, this could be a skill set, it could be anything like that you feel like has really helped you to get to the place that you are at now, success wise.
Honestly, it's very similar to what you were just talking about, is failing. So third business for you, this is my fourth, right? And my longest standing, most successful. I attribute it to failing. So my first business, I had a dance studio. I said, you know what? I really want to do this. I failed. No big deal. I learned a lot from that first business. I then went into real estate. I then owned a boutique. And after going into all those different realms, I realized that the biggest portion that I took away from it was that I enjoyed coaching people. I enjoyed molding things, making things. And that once I got out of the real estate and the boutique side, which was a lot of technological stuff or technology, then I said, you know what? I failed at all of these things. Why don't I try one more? So I went into this one, and this has stuck for me. So I think my biggest attribution would definitely be to failing. I mean, it's the biggest teachable moment for me. I mean, it was rough when I
Yeah,
failed.
not easy.
It was rough, but it's picking yourself back up and saying, I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going. And eventually something is going to stick. That is probably the only reason why I'm successful today, is because I failed.
Yeah. And not only did you fail, one of the things that I really like about what you said is that you reflected on all the things that you learned about each and every business. You didn't just fail and like let it be water under the bridge. You actually looked at what things you did well in each business, what you liked about them, and that's what led you to where you are today. And
Mhm.
that's the important part about a failure. And that's why essentially I don't really feel like you failed, you learned. That's
Yeah.
the difference. Like a failure to me is strictly just being like, hey, I didn't succeed the way I wanted to in this business, and then it's just being like, whatever, go do something else, without actually looking at why you may not have succeeded, what you could have done better, what you did do amazing at, what you liked about it, didn't like about it. All those different things are so important. And I feel like that was also a key to what you just said about your failures, is you took that time to reflect, to say, hey, what is going to be next and why,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So, another, I want to get away from the serious tone to another one of my really
Let's go
fun,
for it.
my fun questions. Um, I like to know a little bit more about personality. And I feel like when I pretend that I'm the genie and you have three wishes, that I get to see a little bit more about how Bri thinks. So imagine I'm a genie, just rubbed the lamp. I came out, did my little genie dance. It said, you got three wishes. It could be anything you want, except you cannot wish for more wishes. What would you wish for?
Ooh. I would wish to travel anytime I want to for free. Only because I love traveling and exploring and experiences and finding new things. So I want to be able to travel anywhere I want, whenever I want, as quickly as I would like to get there. Let's talk about those long plane rides too. Um,
Jet speed.
right? I want to go to Italy. Done. Second, I would wish for health for me and my family, because that is extremely important. Without health, you have nothing. And the third one, gosh, this is hard.
I'm not a real genie, guys. Like,
Right?
I have to tell
This would
everybody,
be
like,
so
you can
hard.
wish for anything. I can't really make it happen, but it
Right?
might just be a power of putting things out there. You
That's
never
what it
know.
is. I think the last one would just be happiness. Everything else, if you have your health, you have your happiness. I can travel. I think I'm good after that. Everything else can be made.
Nice. So I'm traveling. What's your favorite place that you've been so far? And what is a place that you want to go in the future?
Absolutely. I love being around water. Jamaica, I just got my next trip. It's booked. I'm ready. Jamaica is a beautiful place. Every time I go, I feel like I'm literally being welcomed home. They're like, hello, sister. And I'm like, oh, I'm home. Thank you. Right. That is my favorite place to go. I think I would want to travel to Greece. I haven't been yet. That's like my dream destination. It's just the food, the culture. Of course, it is near water. I think that would be a really fun place to visit. But yeah, that's my home. I love it.
That's where my husband and I got married. It was Jamaica.
Really?
Yes. And where I got
Oh,
this was my wedding gift.
I love it.
I loved being there. It was the food itself was just
Mhm.
amazing. We actually don't eat red meat here in the States, right?
Mhm.
And my husband can't, like, absolutely cannot eat red meat. So beef, pork, out of the question. There, he was able to eat a steak, didn't get sick, didn't have a problem. They served me fish
Yep.
with a head on it though, and that wasn't cool. But
See, I'm in Louisiana. That's normal. We're like, I'll take the fried
I
fish,
was
please. Thank you
freaked
with the
out.
head. Yep.
I was freaked out. I was so happy for our driver. We dined with our driver that day, and he was sitting next to me, and he saw me just staring. Like, I didn't even realize I had zoned out, like staring at this thing, like, why is my food looking back at me? And he like just reached over, took the head off, was like, is that better? I'm like, we're good now.
That's better. Thank you. No,
But
we
it was
go there and we
amazing.
pick our seafood out of the ocean. We're like, we'll take that lobster and that crab, and they put it right up, and
And that isn't that so amazing? Like, just right out of the water
oh yeah,
onto my plate. Like,
yep.
so good. So I'm actually really excited to one day go back. Um, we haven't quite planned any traveling yet, just with COVID restrictions and all the different things that we're doing as entrepreneurs. But yeah, Jamaica's, if you guys haven't been,
You need to go. I
go.
think this is our third trip, and we're like, we go like every other year. And my parents, they're going to. It's like their 10th trip. Like
Oh wow.
we love it.
Yeah, it's so nice in so many different ways. The
Hmm.
food is just one aspect of it. It's one of those things, like, I don't feel like I could ever explain it enough to give it justice. It's
Definitely
just
not.
something you
Yeah.
have to experience. But yeah, I don't know much about Greece, but I've heard good things. I have a friend who travels all the time, so she tells me about different places that she's been. So I've heard good
Mhm.
things, but I don't know like a whole lot about it. But it's nice to know where you want to travel and where
Yeah.
you want to go. And I think it's cool that you actually want to explore more than just your backyard, like
Oh yeah. Take me
learn
everywhere.
about other cultures. And then your son's going to be involved in that and seeing so many different cultures and experiencing so many things. By the way, mamas, when they're really little, that's a good time to go.
Hmm.
It's cheaper.
Yes, it is.
And they get to start their lives out already seeing different cultures and being kind of well versed in that. So, as far as your business, getting back to that a little bit, in with everything that you have going on in your personal life as well as business, was there ever a time where you felt like, you know what, I'm just going to quit this and I'm just going to be a dance coach, or I'm giving up this entrepreneurial thing? And why did you feel that way if you ever did? And how did you overcome that feeling?
Yeah. I think that that's a feeling that all entrepreneurs, if they are not familiar, have at least encountered once. Um, I encounter it all the time. It's definitely tough because you have to be your own motivator. You have to see through whatever the anxiety that's coming your way, whether it's not signing enough clients or financially just wanting to produce more or try to figure out how to make more time. I think that we all combat that quite frequently. And I think the only thing that you can do at that point, and that's usually when I'm either really stressed, really tired, or just overworked, I have to recognize what it is and say, okay, the reason why you're feeling this way is not because you're failing. You're fine, right? You ate food today, you have a home, you have the things you need, like the world's not exploding. But you're most likely feeling this way because you're either anxious about something, you're either really just tired mentally, probably. That's like the number one, or you're physically tired. So for me, when I feel that way, I definitely have to analyze it before I freak out, because we all know that moment where you're like, I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to quit. And then you're like, okay, you're not going back to an office. Stop playing around. That's not going to happen. So just taking that moment, like yesterday, I wasn't feeling my best. I worked for a couple hours and I was like, okay, I'm feeling stressed. I think I need a break. I gave myself a break. Nothing's going to go wrong if you give yourself a little bit of break. I mean, sometimes you just need that. So it's, as an entrepreneur, being responsible enough to make sure that you get your work done, but then also as the business owner saying, you know what, I need to take a break or a step back or a moment to breathe, even if it's just a 5-minute walk outside.
Yeah.
We kind of have to be our own coaches.
Yeah, 100%. And that's sometimes the struggle of entrepreneurship is there is no one looking at you and saying, "Hey, you didn't do that," or "Hey, you're looking a little stressed. Do you need to go take 15 minutes to yourself?" Like you have to really be in tune with yourself and in tune with your business to know when you can and should be doing different things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I just had a brain fart because I do that sometimes. I have mom moments.
Hey, all right.
There was something you said that I wanted to go back on, but like I said, I just had a brain fart. So if there's anything is there anything that you would change about your business currently? And if so, what would that be?
Um, I don't think so. I think right now is exactly where I need to be in my business, especially starting something new, a new venture, a new branch of my business. I think that although I may be in the thick of it now, the thick of it is going to not only teach me something, but make me better as a coach, as an entrepreneur. Um, Sometimes, when it's the end of the day and I'm tired, I'm like, man, I wish I could just be at the finish line already, making what I want to make and have. But at the end of the day, you have to take each and every step for what it is and allow that to kind of mold you and make you into what you need to be later on. So no, I wouldn't change anything. I'm exactly
Awesome.
where I'm supposed to be right now.
So if you were talking to someone who was interested in being a virtual assistant, what is one tip that you would give to that person?
Figure out what makes you happy. And that is all obviously in terms of working, what we can make profitable. A lot of us go into it and say, all right, I want to have a business. I want to make this much money. I want to be successful. And it's like, that's great. But do you also want to love what you're doing? Do you want to wake up every day and be excited about going into your office? Do you want to be excited about talking to your clients and doing work for them? Because if you don't, and if it's all about the financials and the income, then you're going to probably be really unhappy, possibly be unsuccessful, and most likely just give up entirely.
Yeah, 100%. Now, as far as being a mom, what is a tip that you would give yourself if we went back? You said your son's 5, right?
He's
Or
4. Yeah.
4. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
I'm adding time to you. So if you went back 4 years before you were a mom, what is some advice that you would give yourself, not just as a mother, but also as a mother in business?
Don't doubt yourself and don't doubt your strength and your willpower. You will do what you need to do for him, for your family. So don't ever feel less than or weaker because you see, people on Instagram doing all the things and being the successful mom and the entrepreneur. You will figure it out. It'll be fine. Just don't give up.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Great message to even to any other moms out there, because
Yeah.
we talk about it a lot in this series, like what you see online is usually fabricated in some sort of way, or someone who has assistance in somehow. Like I know for a fact a lot of the pictures that I take, I make sure I'm away from whatever mess my daughter has created.
Always. Yeah. It's like, oh, the Legos are over there. Let me turn it over
Like
here.
just a slight angle difference. There we go.
Yeah.
Even before this, I was like adjusting my camera so you don't see so many different things, and that's just the reality of it. The perfection that we see online is not real. So, Bri, we're going to wrap up today because we are going to be joining everyone live at 8 p.m. So I just want you to go ahead and tell everyone how they can connect with you for those who are watching the YouTube series. And just if you have any message you want to leave everyone with, you can do that as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So you guys can find me on Instagram. It is Bri, BRI_creative, but the A is an actual 8 because the A was boring. I was like, no, I need something weird. And yeah, the message I want to leave with you guys today is don't be afraid. Just take the step. The worst thing that can happen is that it doesn't go in the right direction that you want it to at that time, but that could also be the best thing that could happen to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bri, for taking some time out of your day to chat with us and share not only your business, but a piece of yourself and your experience with us. I hope that everyone gained something because you dropped quite a few gems on balancing motherhood and entrepreneurship. So thank you so much. And I'll see you live at 8 p.m.
Sounds good. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.